All right, Malpal. It is time for Helpful Honda Mailbag Friday.
Thursday. The North Texas Honda dealers want to help you score some great deals on award-winning Hondas. Stop by your Helpful Honda dealer today or visit ntxhondadealers.com to learn more about that. Woo!
Good car. That always reminds me of the Office episode where Kevin decides that he's going to say like as few words as possible, and he goes,
Why say lot word when few word do trick?
That one.
Like that.
But he also goes, me mechanic understand when me say car no go.
Oh.
That's what I always think of. Now, Hondas are cars that do go. But that's always what I think about every time we talk about this. So anyway, like we mentioned in the beginning of the show, we did not do Helpful Honda Mailbag Friday last week, and we're not going to be doing it tomorrow because we do not have a show. So we figured, why not? So go ahead and send in your questions. Mallory's been kind of compiling those, but go ahead and continue to send those in. But before we get there, I wanted to do something because we were all able to talk earlier this week. You heard from me, you heard from Tepper, you heard from Ish, Craven, which by the way, they released their Republic of Football episode with the two of them talking about what it was like to write the feature stories regarding those covers that you just saw not too long ago. So it's really cool to kind of hear how the sausage is made, how the nuts and bolts go between writing the feature story of the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine each year. So that's an ROF episode, but we haven't talked to you about it, Mallory. And the thing that makes this interesting was this was your first ever cover shoot to go to.
Yeah, it was. And dang, I don't know how many people told me this at the cover shoot, but they were like, Mallory, I don't think you're going to experience a better cover shoot than this one right here. And I was like, well, should I quit now or should I just keep going?
So
like,
this
is it, right? But man, it was the coolest thing ever. And I'm a huge college football nerd. So this was the perfect cover shoot for me to go to. I wasn't able to go to the South Oak Cliff one. I wish I would have been able to, and that one was closer too. But
right.
I had some other work to get done in the office beforehand. So I just saved that day so I could go ahead and go to the main cover shoot. But walking out onto the field and seeing Joey McGuire and Jeff Traylor standing there with each other, either interviewing each other or just kind of goofing off. That was the coolest thing ever because you got to see what they are like not on the sidelines.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, it's what, May at that point?
Right.
Like, they're stressed, but there's not stress.
Right,
you know?
exactly. And seeing them interact with and they're such good friends too that like it was just so cool to see them in like another environment other than being super stressed all the time. But they are just such great guys, and getting to hear their stories and how excited they were to be on the cover because you don't always get that, you know? And this was such a big deal to both of them, and I really saw that with them too, and it was just the coolest experience ever. And the best part is that they came to eat with us too before the actual cover shoot. They were cool enough to stop by
Underwoods
for a quick bite to eat before the actual cover shoot. So that was really
and that was
cool.
your first time at Underwoods.
It was my first time, and I've never been to Brownwood at all. I've never been really out that way at all. You know, I haven't explored much of Texas as you guys. Last week I went to Austin. That was the first time I've ever been to Austin.
Which is so crazy.
So I haven't experienced Texas as much. But yeah, that was really cool.
That is
awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. So we as a Dave Campbell's crew had been to Underwoods before because there was 2019 because then the pandy and everything hit.
Yeah.
But in 2019, my first football season with Dave Campbell's, our swag wagon road trip was me, Step, Tepper, and Ish, and we went to a game in Brownwood. It was a 2A state semifinal between Valley View and Post, but it was in Brownwood, so we went to Underwoods. I had been to Underwoods because there was 2 years of my high school career that Brownwood was in the same district as Llano, which is crazy because it's like a 2.5 hour drive from Llano. But I had grown up going to Underwoods when we would, your parents would come to the basketball game and then they would pick you up, and where were you going? You basically met the entire rest of the team at Underwoods and stuff. So I had been there before, but Mallory gets there and she's like, all right, kind of how does this work? And you'd been to Babe's Chicken before up here in the DFW, and I was like, it's kind of like Babe's, but more like cafeteria and stuff. So we get up there, and I was trying to explain to her, like, it's kind of like Babe's, like you order that, and then it's just a bunch of sides, and you go, it's like a cafeteria, because you do.
Yeah.
You walk up and you get your tray,
tray.
and then you pull it along the line just like you would when you were in elementary school, you know. And so that was cool. Rhonda was pumped about fried okra, so I was pumped about that.
Yeah. And what was crazy too is that I was talking to Craven when we were sitting down and eating, that you get a bunch of sides and you get a huge chicken steak or whatever for your main course, and he's like, yeah, I'm not really a big sides person, because like that, I feel like you just kind of waste room in your stomach with a bunch of sides. But in that kind of restaurant, I feel like it's okay. The sides make the main course better.
Oh, yeah.
Like I get at like a McDonald's where you want to, enjoy your burger. At Chick-fil-A, you want to enjoy your chicken sandwich, so you're not going to get fries on the side with that. But at a restaurant like that, when you have fried okra, you have beans, you've got mashed potatoes, carrots, you have to get a bunch of sides. And I feel like there it's more acceptable.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, and
they were good sides,
And
too.
here's the thing. Just have a bigger gut, Craven. Like,
I know. Seriously. I fit all those sides in my stomach. It was great.
I ate that entire, like, I tweeted out for anyone who follows along my Twitter, I tweeted out a picture of the feast that I had in front of me. I want to let everyone know I ate every single bite of that. All the sides, the rolls, which I don't even know if the rolls were pictured. I had like 3 gallons of sweet tea in my stomach. It was fantastic. But like you said, it was really, really cool, because we just offered it up to the coaches. We didn't tell them like, hey, this is part of the shoot, you have to come. It was just a courtesy, like, hey, we'll buy you a chicken fried steak if you'll come hang out with us. And they brought everybody. So it really was cool. Well, I'm glad you got to experience that. And we meant what we said with like just personality wise, like morale wise. There was, we probably had close to 15 to 20 people there, to be honest.
And then Joey McGuire's wife was there as well, and she was
Miss
just
Debbie.
fantastic. She was fantastic.
Yeah.
She was so sweet, and we love talking to her too. Miss Lano, she's from Lano too,
She
right?
is.
And that's so cool.
Yeah,
you guys
we were
got
sitting
to bond
there at
over that.
Underwoods, and I had known that. I had forgot that fact, to be honest with you. When I did Coach McGuire's Hall of Honor interview in 2020, for the THSCA Hall of Honor, he was like, where are you from, Ashley? And that was the first time I had ever really sat down and had a conversation with him. And I said, Atlanta, Texas. And he goes, you're kidding me. And he was like, my wife's from there. And so anyway, that was my first time meeting Miss Debbie. And it was when Jeff Traylor put the ketchup on his chicken fried steak that he was like, Debbie, am I weird for this? And she was like, I grew up in Lano, Texas. I'm not. And everyone's head just turns and they look at me.
Right at you.
And I was like,
that was great.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was fantastic.
Anyway, all right. Well, there's that. I wanted to get your take on it, especially because it was a first cover shoot experience for
it was
you.
Awesome.
But do we have any questions for Helpful Honda Mailbag Friday?
Let's go ahead and start off with this one. I think our good friend Tony Blaylock asked it. What is your favorite Texas high school football logo? And he says, and why is it the Swole Bee? But that's not mine, so. I know. So mine is, I actually said this when we did this segment about a year ago today, probably, when I revealed my top 10 favorite mascots. Remember that?
Yep.
I think my number one, and still is the New Braunfels unicorn.
Oh, go
the
Corns.
Swole unicorn. And it's not like a little dainty unicorn. Like, it's got like a 6-pack, maybe an 8-pack, some pecs.
Oh,
like,
yeah. No, it's not like poop and
favorite.
Rainbows. Like,
No.
this is a corn.
He's a Swole unicorn, so that's definitely my favorite. What is yours?
Well, one, Swole Bees, like,
Sweet.
shout out. But I will say, I've always said that, and it gets harder and harder every year to, like, narrow it down. I love the Swole Piper.
Yeah.
The Hamlin Pied Piper is unbelievable. It's fantastic. And I guess, and I've realized that too, I think there's 2 things that I really, really enjoy in a logo. One, clearly, I guess if it's just ripped as hell, I'm like, that's it. That's an awesome logo, because the Swole Piper, the Swole Bee, like anything that I can put Swole in front of is good. But I also very much like, there are certain schools that have found a way to incorporate, like make the majority of their logo the state of Texas, and then they kind of have their mascot like coming through it.
Yeah.
And that's what Hamlin's is. The Pied Piper is coming. That's why I think Hamlin might be my favorite. Don't let Coach Hunt hear that, because he's literally going to yell at me.
I think they were in my top 10 too, if I'm not mistaken.
But yeah, Hamlin's Piper, like, it kind of looks like it like tore a sheet of paper almost in the middle of the Texas, and the Piper's coming out of it. I think if you can incorporate the state of Texas in there, that's always been something that has caught my eye. And some people just like throw their logo in the middle of it, but if you can like actually design it to like be coming out of the state of Texas, I was like that always gets like an automatic 2 thumbs up for me.
There's a couple of them like that, I think. I don't know, I can't
well
name any
one of my
off the top of my
favorite
head, but
as I make the matchup graphics when we do our state championship coverage, and it's obviously I put all the teams' logos on it for like the little clickable links on texasfootball.com/state. And I think to this day there were 2 that have been my favorite, like when the color schemes and stuff. But when Mart and Hamlin played in the state championship, both of their logos were the state of Texas, with Mart's the Panthers and then the Pied Piper. So that like aesthetically was that just like logo wise is very pleasing aesthetically. It was when Paul Pewitt played Gunner, and they were both like the same color blue, and so like just the graphics from a graphic perspective was aesthetically very pleasing.
Right.
But yeah, it always works out. But then there's always one state championship thing where it's like a orange team is playing a red team, and it's like, oh.
Yeah,
I can't change it. Like I can't make the graphic look any better because the color scheme, you know?
Right.
What am I supposed to do about that? But yeah, Swolbies are definitely up there.
Yeah, definitely. Let's kind of play off of that one a little bit and say, what is one Texas high school football stadium that you haven't been to that you would like to go to?
The Tomato Bowl.
Where's that? I don't think I know where that
Jacksonville.
is.
I'm going to check texasbob.com to make sure that I am correct on that. Shout out our good friend Texas Bob, because he has every single stadium in the state of Texas on there.
Yeah, I use Texas Bob quite a bit during the season.
Tomato
it's pretty
Bowl.
Cool.
Yes, Jacksonville. I was right.
Okay.
It's unbelievably historic. It's incredibly all brick and everything. But they just redid it not too long ago. But I think they still did a really good job of like keeping the sentimental value of that. If I had not been to R.R. Jones Stadium, that was always bucket list number one. Obviously out there in El Paso, but we went last year and were lucky enough to go see a Thursday night game there. Yeah. Shout out Ray Aguilar for scheduling that. But yeah, the Tomato Bowl is a big one on my list that I have not been able to see.
Yeah. Mine's pretty basic, and I can't believe I still have never been here, but you know, Allen Stadium. I think it's called Eagle Stadium, I think.
Yeah.
I've never been there, you know, and I think that's wild to me because it's 20 minutes from here, and I've just never gone to a game there. I've never covered a game there, never done an activation there.
Yeah.
I've just never had any reason to really go, so I definitely want to get out there in a couple years at some point because it's just so it's so famous. Mm-hmm. Everybody in the country knows about the Allen Eagles, you know? So I just really want to experience that for a game.
Another one that's really crazy, but I have never actually seen a game played at the Puncher Dome down in Mason.
Oh, yeah.
But I have seen the Puncher Dome itself countless times. I mean, Mason is the town next to Llano. So, I mean, I've been there thousands of times. But the other thing is, it's surrounded by a golf course, and I played golf from 7th grade till my junior year, and so we would have a tournament there every single year in Mason, and I was terrible when I was in 7th grade. I can't tell you how many balls I've hit into the Puncher Dome. So
they should give you a part of that stadium.
Exactly. Like I deserve like 1 square yard of grass from the Puncher Dome, and they're like, God, get this girl out of here. She's trash.
That's great.
But yeah, I've never actually seen a football game played in the Puncher Dome, which is
just
wild.
Had a lot of golf balls in there.
I've just been to the Puncher Dome more than I could put into words.
Let's go with, what sporting event would you like to go to? Now let's do we can do actual sports category, and then maybe we can do a team category or something like that.
I like that.
So, yeah. For a team, I don't know. So for a long time, it was an FC Dallas game. I was like, I really want to go see FC Dallas. Yeah. But we did that a couple months ago for the very first time. I experienced that for the very first time, so I thought that was pretty cool. Team-wise, you know, I think I would love to see a Green Bay Packer game at Lambeau Field. I
can't do the cold. I get the
cold.
Sentiment
Yeah,
behind
you gotta go.
It.
Yeah, I know. You gotta go.
You're not gonna go in September.
Right,
Like,
no,
you're not going to go to an early season game. Like, you're going to go
gonna
when it's December and it's
exactly.
negative 30 out there, which to me sounds like literal hell on earth.
Right.
Also, I'd rather go to the Sahara Desert.
Yeah, exactly. My whole dad's side of the family is from Wisconsin, so they're huge Green Bay Packer fans. So it's a little family tie to that as well.
Most
but
sports fans say they want to experience that once.
Right.
No.
I think that's probably number one on my on my bucket list.
I know golf is not a good conversation right now, and I completely understand why. If they can get their crap together,
yes.
Let me preface this, that I'm not going to go while all this crap is going on, but if they can get their stuff together, I would love to go to one of the days when they're playing a tournament at Pebble Beach.
Mm-hmm.
That's always
Pebble
been,
Beach.
I've been lucky enough to go to a practice round of the Masters, so that would have been it. But I would love to go when there's a legit tournament going on at Pebble Beach. I also would love to see a basketball game at Madison Square Garden. I think that's one of those things I would have zero rooting interest. Like, I mean, unless the Spurs were playing for whatever reason up there, but I would love to see an actual NBA basketball game at Madison Square Garden.
Didn't they used to have? So they used to have the NIT championship at Madison Square Garden. Maybe it was the Final Four of the NIT. I don't know if they did that this year or not, because I know they took a break from that during COVID.
They went up.
Oh, they went.
It might have been at Lucas
east,
Oil, up in what is that minute? Wherever they played last year.
Yeah, somewhere east. But yeah, that would be really freaking
The
cool.
other thing that, like, on my football bucket list is Army-Navy. I want to get out to an Army-Navy game just once. I think that is we talk about, like, the best rivalries in college football, like the best games and stuff. And if your answer is not Army-Navy, then I don't know what it would be. Like, I get it. There are games, you know, that are fun. Like, Alabama A&M is turning into that. You know, it used to be Texas A&M, now Texas Oklahoma. Like, there are those marquee, unbelievable rivalry games. Like, I don't see how Army-Navy cannot be your answer. Like, that is the answer.
Right.
That's why it is the only game played that week of the season, because the whole nation
it's
stops
so sentimental
for it.
too.
It
know,
is,
to
and
so many people.
That's a bucket list for me.
Yeah,
I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, on the topic of sports, I would love to go see a college gymnastics meet.
Oh yeah,
like a UCLA versus Stanford.
Yeah, Oklahoma
sprinkled in there, because if you guys don't know, I am taking an adult gymnastics class right now.
Yeah.
I'm nowhere near that level of. I don't have that kind of athleticism in the gymnastics world, but the talent that those girls have, the kind of flips that they can do, you know, off the bar, on the beam. I've always been a huge fan of gymnastics, and I've always thought that it's just so unique.
Yeah,
it's such
that's
a
really
unique
cool.
sport. So I would love to go see a major college gymnastics meet at some point.
Yeah, I guess if we're talking like just like regular sports like that, I think a national soccer game, like a USA soccer game, would definitely be up there.
That would be good too.
Or the other one for me, I would love to see a legit like tennis match, like a Serena Williams, a Nadal, like a legit tennis match. I think would be really stinking cool. Just to do it once, to say that you've sat there and done it. I think that would be really awesome.
Yeah, I had a friend from high school, actually. She was in Paris like this past week or something, and went to go see the what's it called?
Wimbledon?
No, I don't think it's some open it's played in Paris, France or something for tennis. I can't think of the name off the top of my head. It ends with open like everything else does. But I think she actually went to one of those.
Oh, the French Open.
French Open. Okay, well, yes, the French Open. Should have just guessed that. The Paris Open, I had a 50-50 chance, right? I just said nothing.
I think it's the German Open that they
German
play
Open
in Paris,
France, yeah. But
the Czechoslovakian Open.
Should we just end the show here?
Do we have an actual ending question? Because that was a hell of an ender, but
she was there. She liked it. Anyways, let's go with.
Well, I mean, I was in the same dumb position. I'm the one that Googled it.
Yeah,
I was
true.
like, I don't know.
Okay. Let's do. This is a good ender. How about which figure in the Texas high school football world that you ladies have met and made you the most nervous the first time you met them? I think Step asked this, and he said it was for him Todd Dodge and then Nick Golson.
Oh man. Made me the most nervous.
Yeah. Or you could do, I guess, maybe most excited to meet, too, I guess.
Yeah. I mean,
I might have one for you.
okay.
Craig Way.
Oh, that was definitely most excited. Absolutely.
Most excited, yeah.
That was like my like, oh my God, you know?
Right.
Most excited. I will say the one coach that I knew had a very hard exterior that you had to break down was when Coach Gamble was at Allen. And he's well in his right. He's got a lot of media people coming after him. He's a fantastic human being, but there are coaches, and especially sideline reporting, you learn this very quickly. There are coaches that the moment they step off the field, man, they will come to the barbecue, you know, like they're outgoing. But the moment that they step onto the field, there's some coaches that are very, very relaxed, and they're just treat it like, hey, some of their philosophies are, if I'm relaxed, then my team will be relaxed and not feel pressure. And then there are other coaches that say, like, this is our temple. Like, when we step onto the field, we mean business. Like, it's still fun, but it's work at that point, and it needs to be work for the coach. It needs to be work for the players. And he was definitely one of those coaches that you get him off the field, unbelievable guy, will ask you how your day is going. You know, he'll take the time to talk to you. But that was his realm. When he stepped on there, he meant business. And it was kind of one of those things that you had to learn as a sideline reporter, that there was no wasting time. You better have your cameraman ready to go, because he is running off. And I had to stand there and be like, Coach, right here, turn around, look, and he would answer the questions. He was extremely kind on the interview and stuff. But if you weren't willing to say, like, Coach, we're doing this interview, he's gonna go, well, you didn't want it bad enough, because that's how he treats his players. That's how he treats his coaches, you know. And so it was like, I had to step up and go, hey, I mean business here. And that's a fun challenge. It really is. It helps you grow as a reporter.
Absolutely.
To be able to know the difference between that.
Step out of your comfort zone a little bit, you know.
And be like, hey, you're doing your job, I'm doing my job, let's do this together, and then I'll leave you alone, you know. So he was always really fun for me, and then at one point I stopped him like this, and then he brought his players over after the game, and he was smiling and stuff, and I was like,
awesome.
I got you.
Yep.
I got you, Coach.
I cracked the
so
code
that's always
here.
I enjoyed those. They're not even a challenge. It's just a totally different type of, you know, you're going into some games, and then you know you're going into other games where it's like, okay, I'm gonna have to run after him, or oh, Coach, I'll be standing here and they'll run over. Hey, Pickle, how you doing? You know. So it was fun to get that fluctuation week to week.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I think mine. You know, we got this question early, and I've been sitting here thinking about, you know, who actually made me nervous. And I think maybe I could say probably when I interviewed Colt McCoy. I think that was pretty nerve-wracking for me, just because I knew how big of a figure he was to Texas high school football. Because he was, I interviewed him before the Texas High School Football Hall of Fame induction ceremony, and we ran that on the Hall of Fame show. And I was pretty nervous, I think, because I knew how important he was to the Texas high school football community, to the UT community as well. So I knew everybody that was going to watch that, you know, wanted it to be good and was expecting something out of that. So I think I was pretty nervous when I met. But he was such a nice guy, too. He was so
it makes it easy
to He was so easy to talk to. So I think I was probably most nervous.
Well, and I think that's a really good point when it comes to interviewing too, is there have been time, like we talked about this not too long ago on the show, but I've been lucky enough that after Coach Randy Allen's 400th win, I was the one that got to interview him right away. And after Coach Reginald Sample's 300th win, like, those types of interviews, they're not any different than other interviews. You know, you kind of go into it, and I wouldn't say at all that I was nervous, but
you know the stakes are a little bit higher.
You want to nail it, because not because you want to have the good interview, because you hope that they get to go back and show their kids those interviews. You know, like, that's a special moment for them, so you want to ask the right questions to them to set them up for that to be like a meaningful time capsule piece almost, you know? And so it's like, I didn't feel the pressure because I was nervous to talk to them or whatever. I felt pressure because it was like, I want to get this right for you. And I don't want to ask some question that you're going to look at me and say, I just became the first black coach ever to win 300 wins, and you asked me that stupid question, you know? So that's kind of, those are the things that you think about.
For sure.
So,
I think that was a good ender, right?
I think that was a great ender.
Yeah.
Almost as good as the French Open. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you would like more and to be notified when they come out, go ahead and click that subscribe button right down there. You can also watch Texas Football Today every day live at noon on TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, and right here on YouTube. For more of the best coverage of Texas football in the Lone Star State, go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe.